Mic check. Hello, good evening, Sam. How are you people doing? Good evening, Amlan. Good evening, Rajesh. Hello, Priya. Hello, Bhavani. Hi, Nidhi. Hello, Kriti. Ashish, good evening to you. Mohit, how are you doing? How was your Dashera and Durga Puja? How are you people? I hope to find each one of you in the pink of health because you seem very highly energetic right now. Good to have you all here. So, right now, I only hope that you enjoyed your celebrations, but you took care of yourself and you did revise something, right? So, let's begin the Gazette discussion and current affairs for today. We have lots to cover, and in the last 2-3 days some good things have happened, so we will cover quite a few of them right now, and a couple of them which are pending we'll cover in the next video, right, tomorrow. So let's begin. I would like to welcome each of you to Edukemy's YouTube channel, and I am here to present the Gazette magazine, which is the daily guide to UPSC current affairs for all of you. So let's begin. Now, today on the news snapshot, some updates, very stark updates from real updates from our country. Global hunger index, and sadly, we have dropped down. The level of hunger in India has risen from what it was the previous year. So this is a very stark and very painful reality for us. An update on the same. The second on NASA's Lucy spacecraft. What is it about? What is it going to detect? We will understand in this particular update. And the third one is repurposing of a drug, ivermectin. What was the requirement earlier and now what is it serving? We will understand that. This day in history dedicated to Depressed Class Mission Society of India that started in Mumbai in the beginning of 20th century. Okay, and then we have featured news for today. Last time we had a snapshot, an update article, small update article on global multidimensional poverty index, if you remember, 3-4 days back. But here we have come with a detailed article on this index. Here we will cover not only what multidimensional poverty index is to the whole world, but what is this report specific to India? What has it given to India? What are the new observations and what are its limitations? So some basics and something that can build you understand various perspectives about MDI, right? How it is a better index than the regular poverty indexes. Image of the day is Mars on Earth. We'll understand what this type of experiment is about. Terms and concept. We have 4 terms for you today. First one is Rafale fighter jet. Which country have we bought it from? Anybody? Please type it out. Body cameras in surveillance. That is the second term. The third one is import duty on edible oil. And the fourth, cigarette smoking and the relation it has with COVID, right? So whether it increases the chances of one catching COVID or decreases, we will come to know here. 3 editorials, I would like you to read about them. Very beautiful editorials. A couple of them are small ones as well. So first one is about digital revolution in healthcare industry. The second one is Coal India, which has been blamed for the power crisis in our country. And the third one is on gender equality, a small editorial, yet a good one. I would like you to read them personally. Today's case study is on the Miyawaki trees in Rajasthan. So let's begin the discussion. Now, the first snapshot, before that, yes, Priya is correct. Ashish, France. We have purchased it from Dassault, which is a company based in France. And we have ordered 36 of them right now. All right. So the first snapshot is on Global Hunger Index 2021, right? Now, this index is prepared by a European organization, which is called as Concern Worldwide and Wealth Hunger Life, right? So this organization prepares this report for around 120 odd countries, and the last time 2020 report was prepared, and India was at a position of 94th, right? And now India has dropped down 7 positions, and India has taken the position of 101 now out of around 120 countries. Imagine our neighbors like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, all of them doing better than India, right? In this position. That means that there is serious problem of hunger in our country. Now, just a few days back, we had discussed an important article that was a feature on on World Food Summit. World Food Summit. And if you type World Food Summit Edukemy on Google, on YouTube as well, you will be able to find a complete feature news on this. So this was a United Nations summit, and here 3 conclusions were drawn. One conclusion was that we are going through a phase of, the whole world is going through a phase of malnutrition, right? Malnutrition, acute malnutrition amongst people, and chronic one as well. The second one was about global warming. I have repeated this a number of times. Agriculture contributes to 30% of global warming and global warming gases. And the third one was food wastage, which is to the tune of 17% to whatever we produce. So malnutrition, you can right away relate that article to this one, right? Now a question won't be asked specifically about global hunger index. In reference to global hunger index, they will ask questions about malnutrition, about human development. So you can relate this to World Food Summit, all of them together, and have your data at one place so that it's in your mind, it's in your mouth, and you're able to reproduce at the right time, right? So I just made a quick recap of the same to you. Now, since India has dropped to this position, we must know what are the reasons for the same. The first and foremost reason for this is the impact of COVID, because of which people went back to their homes. A lot of migrant workers, they went back to their homes. A lot of supply chain, it broke, right? So people who were on a lookout for food because of government help, they could not have it. And yes, during lockdown time, we have also heard of reports where people died because they did not have enough food, right? People who would survive for meager 70-80 rupees per day, they did not have anything to eat because they could not even earn that amount. There is a place close to Ranchi that is called as Ramgarh. Now that is the place from where these small people with just daily wages of 60-70 rupees, they would smuggle coal from the railway wagons, and they would take it on their cycles and sell it across in the market. Because of lockdown, they could not even take those coal on their vehicles, on their cycles, and because of that, they could not even earn mere 60-70 rupees per day. And because of this, there was a NGO which was working in this field. They through them, they begged for just chapatis, just some rice for themselves. That is all they asked for, because that was the situation. So why cannot we see a situation of hunger in India? Yes, that is the situation, and it has very rightly been put in the country. The situation of wasting and stunting in our country is such that we have fallen across among the developing countries as well. It can very well be seen as we compare ourselves with the South Asian countries, right? Just our neighbors, Nepal, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. And although under 5 mortality has decreased, but it is not leading to better human resource development, because physical development is also related to mental development. And chronic nutrition unavailability, I mean malnutrition, can lead to mental retardation as well. So you can link all the kind of indicators. See, if a human resource, an ideal human resource, if you have studied your class 11th NCERT book, gets formed of 3 important things. One is education, second one is health, and the third one is skill. So what we are at skill, I would not like to comment here, but if education and health, they go hand in hand when a child is small, and the child does not receive good food, what will happen to their health? And will they be able to study properly? No. So are we building good human resources? I'm leaving apart skills right now completely. I'm leaving apart the fact that if they are not educated, if they are not healthy, they will not be able to work only. But just you can just see whether we are leading to good human resources development for future or not. So point being here is that this is not for today. This is for future development of the country. And are we going in the right direction or not? This we must gauge, we must look when we eat food, and if we leave food at our plates. That is the way we can gauge all this, right? So 3 important C's that you can note here are conflict, climate change, and COVID. These are the 3 things which have caused this problem. Why? See, I have also discussed 4 C's at some other place, right? The 4 C's that I had discussed were in relation to global scenario. So the 4 C's जिन्होंने नाक में दम कर रखा है, which have caused pain to the whole world, are China, climate change. The third one is counter-terrorism, and the fourth one is COVID, right? China, climate change, counter-terrorism, and COVID. But if you see, this is also caused because of conflict. So conflict-ridden areas, Now, we had also presented one human displacement report by United Nations. If you have been watching the Gazette videos regularly, 2 months back, there was a human development displacement report which was published by United Nations itself, right? So that was on United Nations Human Commission for Refugees, and they spoke that majority of the people who are getting displaced because of conflict, because of climate change, right, and because of COVID. So there were 3 or 4 more factors here, and because of this conflict, they are not being even able to develop as good human resources. The amount of people, the number of people who have gotten dislocated has doubled in the last 10 years. Despite having COVID, despite being going through COVID lockdown, it has only increased. The graph of people dislocated internally and externally has only gone up. And it is only in our neighbors. We can look at countries like Myanmar, we can look at Afghanistan. Not only that, we must look at countries in Africa. We have Nigeria, Somalia, South Sudan, we have Venezuela, we got Syria. These are the places from where people are migrating to just their neighbors. Afghanistan, where are people going to? They're coming to India. Myanmar, where are people going to? They're coming to Bangladesh, they're coming to India, right? So this is contributing to the issues of those countries, and we are in the category of alarming hunger category, right? And interestingly, China, Brazil, Kuwait, they are in very good category, right? So you can very well see the difference in the GDP growth or present GDP levels of these countries. This is how they are determined, right? Because they have better human resources, right? So the 4 parameters on which this rating is done are undernourishment, child wasting, child stunting, and child mortality. Now, sometime or the other, this question will come. It has to come. Child wasting and child stunting, what is it, right? So child wasting, you can easily gauge waste, right? Wasting. So this is about the people who have low weight as per their height. Low weight as per their height is child wasting, and child stunting is low height, stunted. They are stunted in height as for their age, right? So these are the 2 important things. They might ask, match the following, whatever it is, but you must remember this, right? And India, sadly, is rated even below the countries which are having similar developing statuses, right? So this is the situation here. Yes, Mohit says that very good point. Mohit says that the calculation procedure of this index is not proper, so the government says it's unusual, right? So see, this is a report prepared by a world organization. So Indian government has to retort because India has been presented in a bad light, right? So India says that we are one of the superpowers, we are one of the developing powers, we have regional hegemony status, right? So how can you call us a country which has got this status of stunting and wasting? 3 months back, I had discussed one of the editorials. India has a level of stunting of 25%, right? 25% of the children in our country are stunted, and so with the wasting, it is around 25 to 30%. That is the proportion. So India will keep on saying, yes, it is not so. See, India has one of the log books, right? So we have tried to make everything online, and on the log book, all the children, small children are registered, right? And amongst them, those children who are stunted or who are wasted, they are also registered. So India is trying to target them through apps, and their mothers will reach these kind of messages. They'll get these messages and they'll have to take the child to ICDS, Integrated Child Development Centers, right? Scheme centers and Anganwadi centers, and there is where they will be fed something, they'll be given some medication. If you remember, we had also studied of hypervitaminification, right? So taking of excessive vitamins or nutrition, and because of that causing ailments. So government is trying that it gives nutrition, and it's in government's record, those many children are not wasted or stunted. So this is where government says, no, please don't say like this. See, so yes, these are international issues, and there is a retort, yeah, all that. So good point made, Mohit, very good. This is what discussion does to us. It enriches us from within, right? We start discussing, we start accepting, yes, there is another perspective, and this is what gives us a all-round understanding about one article, right? So do remember and start connecting these articles. That is the reason I start to connect 2, 3, 4 of articles, and I would like you to start connecting in your own minds. And if you can connect, you might as well write down what you are thinking, right? So that is required. Meanwhile, if you like this effort, do share some love through likes, comments, and shares, right? So just a small like right now will do. Let's continue. Okay, so the second snapshot is on NASA's Lucy spacecraft, which is to study Trojan asteroids. So what are these? Now, this is about the formation of solar system, right? The time when solar system got formed, there was something called as nebula. What is nebula? So nebula is rotating gas and clouds. So cloud of rotating gases and icy particles, right? So they were rotating and revolving very fast, and the core of this later formed the sun. And the rotation later, whatever particles were rotating, they steadily formed other planets. So in different orbits, we had the formation of Earth, and then jovial planets, that means Jupiter and onwards, right? So those planets got formed. Now, in between those planets, there were some particles called as asteroids, right? So these asteroids also were revolving around the sun, and we have got two major asteroid belts. One is between Mars and Jupiter, and the other one is beyond Neptune, right? So that is called as Kuiper belt, and that is a very, very big belt in which these asteroid particles are located, right? These particles were small, and they could not coalesce, they could not join together to form a particle which was spherical in shape, which did not have clear orbit, and that is why they did not become a satellite. So they became asteroids. And sometimes so they are largely balanced. How are they balanced? Because of attraction of two heavenly bodies. So between Mars and Jupiter and Sun, these are the heavenly bodies which might have more attraction, gravitation towards that body. So they move around the sun in a particular orbit only. They do not change the orbit because they are at a state of equilibrium of gravitation. The places where they are at equilibrium of gravitation amongst the heavenly bodies, that means probably Sun, Mars and Jupiter, those places are called as Lagrange points, right? We have mentioned it here, they are called as Lagrange points, right? So this mission, what is it going to do? This mission, Lucy mission, is going to do some research on these asteroids, right? These asteroids which are located around Jupiter, and this will be a mission for the coming 12 years, right? So this is the mission about. So do remember the word Lucy, right? Now, what is Lucy? Lucy also has been given a special name by NASA. This is about the hominins. So our ancestors, right? And they also included humans. They would be called with the name Lucy, right? So this is how it has been named Lucy. And what will they study? Now, if we study these particles, these asteroids, will we not be able to understand what is their composition? Of course we will. What is their what are the kind of particles, what is their physical and chemical nature? And this is how we will be able to also extrapolate how Earth got formed, how solar system got formed. This is basic curiosity of humans, and through this we might as well try to see where is what is habitable space for us and what is not. So this is the Lucy mission of the Earth, right? So they will be studying the leftover raw material from the formation of the solar system. That's what I mentioned. Okay, third snapshot is on repurposing of drugs. Which drug are we talking of here? We are talking of ivermectin drug, right? Now, during COVID times, we got to see a new kind of coronavirus. Coronavirus has been present, but this is novel coronavirus. We have not encountered this particular type of virus, coronavirus. And in the treatment of this new kind of coronavirus, various diseases were experimented, various medicines were also experimented. So while we were trying to see if normal medicines work against coronavirus or not, some extreme medications did work. We are talking of the antiviral AIDS, right? The antiviral, antiretroviral therapy for AIDS, right? We are talking of those drugs which were used for treatment of malaria, so quinine, right? So extreme drugs which were used to treat those diseases causing protozoa diseases, bacterial diseases, antibacterial and antiviral therapy, those were given. Now, one of that kind of drug that was given was ivermectin, and this drug was repurposed that time. Repurposing means changing the way the drug is utilized. So earlier this drug was utilized in its veterinary capacity. So that time when it was utilized, it was given for treating the life and sight-threatening parasite infections. And this was a veterinary drug, right? Screening project for parasite infections of livestock and domestic pets. That was it. That is what it was utilized for. And in 2015, there was also a Nobel Prize awarded for this drug itself. But as COVID came in, it was later found that probably it can be used to cure COVID. but this was a false alarm, right? It was a false hope that this drug could be repurposed and used for treatment of COVID. And that is why this drug literally, it miserably failed, and WHO has warned against usage of this drug because it is toxic for human. And we don't even know how many kinds of drugs have we already taken. But all you got to do is remember ivermectin, because this has been in news, and that is why it gains significance for UPSC examination as well. This can be used as an example in main examination, what not to be done, health field. You can also develop your knowledge for pre-exam purpose, right? So this kind of name you should remember. Very simple names. We have got some names like endosulfan. We have got some names like diclofenac. You can also add this one here, right? So what is the name? Ivermectin. So just remember these kind of drugs, no? Right? Just like you remember endosulfan and diclofenac. If you know what is endosulfan and diclofenac, just type it down here, right? Okay. All right. So moving ahead, this day in history talks about depressed classes mission, Society of India. So gentleman called as Maharshi Vittal Ramji Shinde, he initiated an organization in 1906 called as Depressed Class Mission Society of India. This was for the lower caste people, and specifically to provide them holistic kind of facilities, schooling, hostels, hospitals, everything. And later they also set up an ashram in Pune, Ahilya Ashram in Pune in 1922, right? So this is this day in history, almost 1 century and 15 years back, right? So global multidimensional poverty index, we will understand this at 6:30. A good article about it. What is it about? What are the reforms required? We will study that at 6:30. Image of the day is on Mars on Earth. We have tried to simulate the situations of Mars on Earth at a desert in Israel, and you can see this very much looks like the Martian atmosphere, right? Martian atmosphere. And on that, I would like to remind, there's a very good movie, The Martian, by Matt Damon. It's worth a watch if you are into scientific sci-fi movies, right? So humans try to emulate the Earth environment in Mars and try to build a structure in which they could live and create food for themselves, right? So this is what they're trying here as well. The same thing that is depicted in the movie, they're trying here for real. There are 6 human beings, and they're trying to sustain in self-contained breathing systems. This is one. And they are trying to sleep, eat, and conduct experiments at this particular space. And this place is the southern Israel, right? We are southern Israel, where this the experiment is happening. Raymond crater in the desert of southern Israel. So this is the place where this experiment is happening, right? And slowly and steadily they will actually go, right? Go beyond. They will go to Mars, right? All right. So next we have terms and concept. Terms and concept for today. Hello Siddhi. Hello Nidhi. Vishal, I have noted what you have said. India has performed poorly only in undernourishment, right? Yes, India might have performed poorly in undernourishment. However, the point to be made here is stunting and wasting. These are still below par as compared to the developing countries. You might be comparing with the previous year's report. See, this is where, right now, for all the audience, I would like to bring attention that we are talking about the first snapshot that was on the health indicators of the country, right? So, good evening, Shubham. So, see, the kind of report you read, that also influences us. You pull data in certain way and it will start, showing you results in that way. You pull data in another way and it will say, yes, that is also true. So both the perspectives are true. This is why we have to balance our perspective. India, it is not this report, it is previous reports also that I am speaking of. India is rated as one country which is faring far below its comparative economic other countries as well, faring far below in the health indicators, right? So although it might not have performed as bad as compared to last year in case of wasting and stunting, yet it is already far below. This is the point I'm making, right? Okay. So terms and concept for today. First one is Rafale fighter jet. We have purchased it from France, and we have purchased 36 of them for around 6,000 crore rupees. Yes, 60,000 crore rupees. So average cost of one of these jet comes to around 1,700 crores. 1,700 crores. So presently around what is the value of Indian rupee? How many dollars is 1,700 crore rupees? It is around $200 million. Around $200 million. So $200 million is what we are spending on one of these aircrafts, right, after modifications for Indian setup. Now people might ask, there could be pre-questions, is it a single engine or twin engine? So engines are right here where you see, these are the engines here. So this is a twin engine jet, and it does have single cockpit and twin cockpit as well. So we have modified it for single pilot sitting also and two pilots sitting also, right? Accordingly, we have modified this, and it is a multi-role fighter jet. It is going to replace our older fighter jets in the country. So right now we have got 29 of them, right? And just now we got delivered 5 of them, right, at Gujarat, Jamnagar, right from France. So this is the update about Rafale. All right. Moving ahead to body cameras for surveillance. Now, we have seen n number of cases where the jail inmates, they died under mysterious circumstances, and police is blamed for that, right? Sometimes police is rightly blamed, sometimes investigation goes on and we don't know what happened. Sometimes there is a war also between the jail inmates, right? They fight, and there is complete, presence of a mafia inside the jail itself, right? So that is why police has come up with a reformation, body cameras for surveillance. So just like I'm wearing a camera right here, I'm wearing a mic right here, the police will be wearing a camera right here, right? It is already available in the developed countries where police wears a body camera wherever they move around, right? The vehicles also have cameras, right? So this time they will have it while they are inside the jail premises, so that harassment against police does not happen, so that police defamation does not happen, so that reports, if they are found that police has involved itself in torture of an inmate, that does not happen, right? So there was also a report that some person in Tihar jail, he died, and nobody knew what happened. Police was also blamed for it, and that is why police is going to reform this part of jail system, right? So police reformation is also little about reformation in jails, right? We have discussed in the editorial, one of the editorial, that more than 75% of the jail inmates, they are under trials. It is not known till now that they were culprits and they are still inside the jail. People who are wealthy, people who have influence, who have muscle power, they go out, but people who are poor, they languish in the jails till the time they serve almost half the sentence. And even after serving half the sentence, the court has ruled that they can be set free, but they don't know this. So they keep languishing in jails. Around 4 lakh people are in the jail, right, at this time of a point of time, right? So this is a new kind of reformation. You can put this as an example of police reforms. This is like offering digital evidence, right? And especially put in high risk ward. See, where police also has nexus with some of the other goons, and police assist in murdering inside the jail complex itself, right? So these kind of manhandling can be avoided, and jails can be provided better facilities. All right. Mohit, what initiative are you talking of? Which initiative is a good one? All right, moving ahead to the third term and concept for today, import duty on edible oil. This was asked, edible oil, and especially we are talking of what is that oil? Palm oil. Yes, palm oil was asked in the exam this time, and it was a very, very relevant question. It came through and through. The whole month we had one editorial on palm oil every day, and we have discussed that in Cosmos, in Gazette also a number of times. So now the government says that they will be removing certain duties on edible oil. Government had put as much as 33% duty, 33%, imagine, net tax structure. So custom duty, import duty, cess, all of them include 33% on palm oil. And now government says that it is going to remove quite a lot of it because of certain reasons. Let us know what they are. Before that, India is only after China in net consumption of edible oil. In net consumption of edible oil, China is at the first position and second is India. You know what is the simple reason? Let us apply our common sense. We have got that population. Population is one, and second reason is also that India is a country, we largely, utilize that fried food, right? That is what is available in the markets and home as well. It is a part of our culture. So palm oil is the one which is majorly imported and used. Around 40% of consumption of edible oil is palm oil. And then we have soybean around 20%, and then we have mustard around 10%, right? And rest of it, then we have groundnut, cottonseed, etc. Now, palm oil is not indigenous to India. Palm oil is also not indigenous to Southeast Asia. Britishers, Europeans had planted it. They had taken it and planted it at this place because this was a tropical land and they found it good for cultivation. This was also asked in UPSC whether palm oil is indigenous to Southeast Asia or not. See, if you have read your NCERT class 6, it is clearly mentioned that Nigeria is the land of palm oil, right? So they transported the palm oil, the palm trees from Nigeria and Africa to Southeast Asia and planted them there. Now, what are the repercussions of planting it? See, it is an exotic variety. It was not natural to that place. And because of that, because it was not natural to that place, what happened? The natural vegetation, it went haywire. Only palm was available there. What about the trees, the monkeys that were living? The monkeys, there was no life for monkeys after that. They would not be able to jump between palm trees. Something that they could do in naturally the tropical rainforest area. So not only the biodiversity, there were other kind of losses as well. So now India is trying to have palm oil cultivation in India itself, in Northeast area. So people are rebelling against it. See, palm oil has got certain advantages, certain disadvantages as well. Simple as possible. Palm oil's advantages is that its yield per hectare is more than the other crops. Certain disadvantages also that another advantage of palm oil is that we will not be importing. No, in that case, we will be producing it in India. We will not be importing. So our expenses on import will be curtailed. But one major disadvantage of palm oil is that biodiversity loss will be there. Another major issue with palm oil is that the total life, you know, the time at which we sow and then it grows and it gives us the fruit, I mean the whole oil, the whole lifetime is more than 12 months. It takes a lot of time as compared to soybean, as compared to mustard. Mustard is just a small season. It is the winter crop. So these are the issues. Now let us get back to the article. Quick background is important so that, you know, if you are a part of this video, so you get this, perspective. So this is what was the background. So let's get back. Now, what is about this import duty? So first of all, it will give a lot of relief to consumers because whole of India consumes it. So why did the prices actually go up? You know why? Can you, do you have some points to present? Why did the prices go up? Please type out here, right? Meanwhile, let me explain. So one reason why prices went up was because this is the festive season. Very simple. And this is the time when there is Eid, there is Diwali, there is Dussehra, and people want to just, hog on to the food in the market. And that is why there is a huge shortage of oil, huge demand of oil and huge shortage. So this is one. Demand because of festive season. This is one. The second reason is because of the rains, the kind of rains that we have this year. We also have had a lot of crops which got spoiled, and so did the oil cultivation in India. So therefore the prices have gone up. This is second reason. Third reason, the way petroleum prices are going up. It is not petroleum. It is directly linked to everything related to food inflation, right? So these are three major reasons. You can also link it slowly and steadily with energy crisis. You can also link it with other things like, for example, one is government taxation, cess, all of it. Now that is the reason government has decreased taxes right now. So yes, so Vishal says demand and supply. Absolutely correct. Demand and supply is the simple answer, but if you have to elaborate, these are the 4 points you will give, right? Now government has said, now okay, we'll reduce the taxes down. So this is the update regarding the same, right? Okay, so the fourth term and concept for today is on cigarette smoking and COVID virus. What do you think? Smoking is injurious to health or not? Smoking is injurious to COVID virus or not? So when the COVID had struck initially, there was a thought that it will it will vanish during summers because the virus will not surviving during the summer seasons. Is it true? It was not true. The second wave did come during the times of the hot season. Yeah. Similarly, there was also a belief that cigarette smoking will kill the virus inside. So let's smoke. I don't smoke, but this was the feeling. Now there are contradictory reports about it, right? So some people say, and it has been part of research as well, that smoking increases the severity of COVID-19. Why? Because smoking naturally affects our liver, lungs, and COVID is also a lung disease, right? It affects the lungs primarily. So because of this, probably it is not good to smoke if one has COVID disease also as well. So they are mutually interlinked in negative way. But another research which we are talking of right now, it speaks that if one is smoking cigarette, it is going to prevent the person taking the COVID disease. How? Let's understand that quickly. So what happens is that when one smokes cigarette, there is some kind of activism in the body, right? It activates some kind of cells in the body, right? Some receptors. These receptors are called as aryl hydrocarbon receptors, right? Aryl hydrocarbon receptors. Now, when these kind of receptors are activated in our body, it also activates certain range of cellular activities in the body, cellular activities. So once we smoke, right, some kind of activity starts to happen. And during that activity, a particular type of entity is not created. What are we talking of? We are talking of ACE2 proteins. They are not created in that number if we smoke. And these are the protein, ACE2 protein is something that the COVID virus, it hooks onto it, and then it enters our body. So if we have less production of ACE2 proteins, will COVID be able to enter the body? No, it will not be. So you smoke and then you can prevent COVID disease. This is the conclusion. See, these are partially baked kind of results, right? This is just an update, and you must know what this is in use for, right? AHR, aryl hydrocarbon receptor, right? They are contradicting reports, and this is where you should also understand science. Science changes every time, right? Science develops itself with time. It is inductive. The research is inductive. Someday some more research will come into existence, and then we will change this stand as well. So you can present this kind of example very, very well, right? How science changes with time, how COVID is experimenting with us. These are the good examples you can use, right? Okay. Now, Mohit says, Siddhi says, not adequate government support to edible oil like wheat and rice. Absolutely true. See, edible oil, government is trying to promote edible oil in India. Government is also trying to promote pulses in India. There's a reason for it. See, these are the kind of crops which do not take as much amount of water as is taken by rice, paddy. Paddy requires complete field to be flooded. Wheat also requires good amount of water at times, but these are dry land crops. If we use them, at least those varieties which are indigenous to us. Why use those exotic varieties, invasive species which are not India's, right? If we use them, then it will cause biodiversity loss. Let us use those varieties which are indigenous, but at times they do not give that much of productivity as palm oil does. So government is also in a jinx, right? In a situation where it is confused what to do, and people are also rebelling against it. And government must provide some or the other kind of support, no? Just like it provides MSP for so many other crops, it must provide good MSP for diversification of crops as well. So this is required, right? Okay. ACE2 exam में भी आया था. That is true. देखो ऐसे ही पढ़ेंगे, ऐसे ही हम लोग भी. We will also claim that we taught some components of it, right? Direct or indirect. I will mention all of them. There were 16 questions which could be directly solved from what you are reading right now, right? Just 6-7 months of effort, just 6-7 months. And that is a huge claim that we are making here, right? And I'm very happy that you are a regular part of it, each one of you, because it shows the commitment, it shows the greed of getting through. And I'm very happy. I know each one of you here. I see each one of you here. So ACE2 exam में भी आया था इस बार. Bhavani says great in some way, it's helpful. So she's talking about smoke. She says it's in some way smoke is helpful. Okay. Mohit says, sir, what's your personal opinion on smoking? It is injurious to health. One should not smoke. Mukesh, remember Mukesh, right? So quickly, I would like to point you out that these are editorials. You must click here to read, go to the website, read them. These are very good editorials. I don't want to discuss everything. I want to discuss everything as much as possible, but sometimes we fall short of time. And although we will be presenting one complete feature article on Coal India, right? What is the crisis that Coal India is going through? What are the reasons Coal India is being blamed for this kind of crisis? So this is the editorial about, right? And the first one is our digital revolution in healthcare technology. Now, we have covered this in one feature news, a huge article on this. There is something called as account aggregator. Account aggregator, that is the concept of finance. So similarly, we are also talking of account aggregator in the field of healthcare, where one digital ID will be given to one person, and on the basis of that ID, they will be able to access all their pharmaceutical documents, access all their medical records, access all their reports, and they will be able to present it to the doctor. Their insurance will be made easier. They won't have to go to hospital carrying all their polythenes and packs with themselves. So that is the kind of digital revolution we are talking of in healthcare. It will not only help pharmaceutical industry, it will also help doctors, it will help the person themselves, it will also help insurance sector, everything that is related to healthcare, right? So this is what the editorial is about. Okay, gender equality, why we must involve men, right? Where men involvement is must, yes, a very small editorial. Do click here to read, right? You go to the website and read this, right? Meanwhile, let me read the comment very quickly. So somebody says, sir, in Coal India editorial, what does cancellation of 214 block of coal by Supreme Court mean? Okay, it is said that it added problems to Coal India Limited. See, this cancellation of 214 coal blocks, this was done years back. So these blocks were allocated to different industries, right? And because there was a 2G, there was a coal scam, there was a coal scam along with 2G scam. This was years back when UPA government was in power, and that time because of this cancellation of coal blocks, a lot of industries could not utilize the coal which was allocated to them. So since they could not utilize the coal, there was also this shortcoming in coal at those times as well, and reallocation happened very, very late. So these kind of issues also have caused delay in coal supply, right? Did this not fail in UK? What are you talking of? UK? What kind of fail are you talking of in UK? Okay, if you are talking of the coal crisis, yes, UK is also going through a coal crisis. Almost whole of world is going through a coal crisis. It is because the increased amount of rainfall. It is also because of increased amount of protection measures against the fossil fuels, right? It is also because some countries are trying to have imperialism over their fuel. For example, Russia is saying no, we are not doing it, but many countries are trying to preserve these kind of resources for themselves and create an artificial crisis in the world, right? So that there may be increased demand and increased money for them later on, right? So these are the kind of issues. In fact, UK has also put its army at reserve, right? Army at reserve so that they can be activated in case there is need, right? Okay, yes, it is happening all throughout the world, and it can actually lead to another disaster, human-made disaster, recession as well, possibly. All right, case study of the day is on Japanese Miyawaki in Rajasthan. So what is Miyawaki? We have discussed this a couple of times. You remember we had discussed Ho community, Ho tribes. Just a month back, we had discussed the Ho tribes from Jharkhand, and a couple doctor had returned and they started helping the Ho tribal people. And because of their help, the tribal people started to understand how can they treat themselves, how can they use traditional system of medicines, how can they talk to each other in the community itself and heal themselves. So the couple started by doing a survey and then understanding what is acceptance level of the treatment, and they started helping the community. And the question in UPSC exam was just that Ho is a tribal language or it is some random options which were far from tribal and languages. So point being, see, we were discussing only a case study about Ho tribes, and you could directly solve the Ho community question, right, in UPSC, and 2 marks straight away. Similarly is Japanese Miyawaki. So Miyawaki is a place in Japan, and this also talks about the person who initiated this movement in Japan. So we are talking of urban forestry, dense urban forestry, when a lot of trees are cultivated in a very small close space together, right? So they create dense forest in small spaces. We have discussed this in Chennai, and we have also discussed this in Mumbai. Huge amount of forest, and you will find roads just aside it. So forests not only help in providing oxygen, they also help in water recharge, right? They not only help in water recharge, they also help in having the whole biodiversity back to this place. So we will have birds, we will have small animals, all of them. We won't find tigers, of course, but we will definitely find small animals, rabbits, snakes, all of them. And they will also affect the micro climate of this place. So the urban climate, which is a little warmer, it will get cooler, right? Not only that, they will also influence the amount of dust which is around this place. They will ensure that desertification does not happen. They will be like a barrier to the desert kind of winds that are flowing in, right? So Miyawaki forests are the way to go, and this example is the same from Rajasthan, right? Now you would be able to see whenever you travel by trains, you would be able to see that people have done some tree culture, right? So they have cultivated trees along their farmland. This is not Miyawaki. This is not Miyawaki, but this is another technique to be able to recharge water at their own farms. Not only to be able to recharge water, influence microclimate, all those benefits, associated benefits are there, right? So do remember Miyawaki, right? A Japanese person also initiated this. See how Japanese Miyawaki was implemented in Rajasthan, right? So do search a little about this, and this is where we come to the conclusion of the Gazette discussion. I would like you to share with us some inputs. If you like this video, do share some love. Just thumbs up, no? Just thumbs up. That will do the job, 1 second job. So let me read. If you have got some questions, doubts, you can also post them. I will reply to you, right? Because of China smuggling coal from North Korea. All right. This is a revelation from Priya. China is smuggling coal from North Korea. Or maybe, I don't know. All right. So I will see you in 10 minutes for the feature discussion, a very interesting discussion today. And meanwhile, you got to like this. I bet you got to like this video that you're watching right now. We have taken a lot of load, and we will see you very quickly in 10 minutes time, right? So thank you for watching, and see you in 10 minutes for a very important discussion, feature discussion for today on global multidimensional poverty index. Thanks for watching. Sir, can we please have a video on Gazette notes making? Sure, super, pretty, sure. I will definitely share quickly, and I will also share a different video on this, right? But I will share quickly how to make notes. I will. But like this video. See you soon. 10 minutes.